Yeah, I mean, you see, Film Institute for me turned out to be like the Garden of Eden. It was a small place, full of green and full of films, full of a window to the world, which I had never known. It was also the commencement of, in personal life, a very important turning called the de-schooling. I had of course read Ivan Illich and we knew about de-schooling of society and all that, but how does it accrue to the self?
Yeah.
I mean, I had been just a plain and simple student.
Yeah.
And being in a protected environment, my family being an academic, my university supporting me, saying you do linguistics and phonetics, come back, we'll absorb you. At that time, intuitively, it seemed like a kind of a narrow tunnel in which you probably have to be generally, pushed in and you get formed by it and you are not forming your life. And whatever it was, I couldn't articulate so clearly at that point. But one thing was clear that I think from my childhood, my intuition has been strong. And a blessing, one might say, that I have heard my intuition and I have followed it. Disregarding what it might lead to. And eventually today, looking back at all that, it seems as though that is a favorable thing, that is how nature meant you to be.
And exposure to international cinema for us coming from different backgrounds suddenly opened our eyes to the world and a world view, which we didn't have.
And thank God for the kind of neorealism, for the kind of European cinema, which was so absolutely lifelike, it was a kind of a mirror to the lives and sociological insights that one could derive by looking carefully at those films. I used to look at the movie many a times and then I'll take it back to the Steenbeck and then I'll read the subtitles.
Yes. I do it even now. I don't, when the film is so visually, cinematically interesting, watching subtitle films late at night, it is strenuous. So I stopped reading the subtitles.
And I'd later when I was teaching, I'd also persuade my students to block their eyes from just reading the text, and getting the narrative right. I would insist that you look at the movie. And apparently there's a new system of subtitling when you laser it. Just project it onto the film. And the film is not disturbed, the composition and the textuality doesn't obstruct by being there all the time. So you can reserve that thing for a second screen. And you can project it coaxially when you like. So that's one of the advantages of modern technology, I must say. But in my growth and development, I think a window to the world. And my being a only issue and my being very comfortable with my aloneness was in a sense constraining me. It was limiting me. And looking at a Godard, looking at an Antonioni, looking at a Bresson movie brought me so close to those people, that were being portrayed, that I almost began a kinship pattern. And if these films were sort of rhetorical or propagandist or like Hollywood or something, I would not ever have received that schooling. You see, because de-schooling, as I was saying, became a compulsion in order to re-school and re-educate. In a sense, I used to feel it's a loss of time, but then in retrospect, I feel there is no loss of any sort. It all kind of telescopes,
Yeah.
and one needs to take a holistic view of things as they exist, and one needs to be a part of the
Yeah.
cosmic concern.
Yeah.
And one needn't particularly, inject
Yeah.
one's own thing in me against the universe kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's inconsequential.
Yeah.
So that really, I think, helped me.
Yeah.
I was a changed person after that.
And that element has remained with us
I've
for
always
the
loved people.
rest of the life in a way that it has guided us in our lives in different ways, not only a professional life but in your personal life, spiritual life. It has always been with us. That has been a great contribution of FTI.
I have loved people of any denomination. I have loved children and nature very, very deeply all along. And I have not liked people who are like actors, अभी क्या रोल करना है साहब बताइए, ये description. I have never been able to work with actors, that's why. Khalid was a different cup of tea because it's not like him as a professional, it's his life.
Khalid the actor, not
Khalid Tayyab.
not Khalid the critic.
Khalid the actor and critic by inference, because he wouldn't criticize, but through his life, because he'll never lose that persona. For you and me it's different. We need to make a movie, we have to be a kind of a director sort of a thing, or we have to do the camera. I'm a one-man show right now, I do my own shooting and I do my own editing. We can shift around, we can play with our personality, but Khalid wouldn't do that. So it became a kind of a, interlocking. And the film got done because of the energy that interlocking produced. And it erupted also in some personal
Homecoming,
fashion.
yeah.
Homecoming.
Yeah.
And so on. So I have literally been betrayed by Khalid, yet the energy helped me to construct the movie. But I've always wanted to get to the guy under the skin, so called. I've never asked someone to just play me a role.
I wish there were more actors of that temperament.
European actors.
And more,
like,
yes,
yeah.
European, even the best of stars came to the hotter filmmakers and said, let's make a film, and they made it happen, without worrying of the consequences of whatever, box office or fame or name or something. I think that is a great drawback in our milieu, that the rich and famous and the able actors have not come forward with this kind of working,
You think of Jean Moreau,
Yes.
you think of Belmondo,
Yes.
Max von Sydow,
Yes, yes.
and you know what I'm talking about.
Mastroianni.
Mastroianni. It is
Even Sophia Loren.
Sure. And all the kind of non-professionals that Bresson
Yes.
was using.
Yes.
How.
It's not that you can't make a non-professional actor suit your film, but if the stars who are marketable, if they come forward and make these films, it will change the entire scene of Indian film cinema.
Yeah, but then I don't think a star would, in our context.
In our context.
Star is a star. He is an image.
Yeah.
He is not a human being anymore. If you want to be with people, you have to remain with people.
Yeah.
Of course, I understand. People also in real life have to take a role.
Yes.
I am a parent.
Yeah.
I am a teacher. I am a doctor.
They are functional roles. Yeah.
In a lawyer, I'm a pilot of a plane. I have certain role to play. Or I'm a politician or a sociologist or an academic. Those are different things. But you can't say I'm an actor, I'll put on this one and then of course I'll put on that one and you should. The very texture, the very timbre, the very way a person would speak. I've never been able to dub a movie.
Yeah.
I bring all my sounds from location.
Yeah.
I necessarily do spot dubbing
Yeah.
there and then. Because the way a non-professional can speak, at the time of shooting, when the energies are all focused and concentration. I have never really believed in take 2 and take 20 and all that, because you bog him down, Anybody who has not worked with films and you've come professionally from outside, if you tell him, look, it's been my fault, please let's do it again, that chap's likely to infer that it is his fault.
Yeah.
And we are just being polite.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So there is a certain way of optimizing these resources.
Yeah.
कर दिया तो हो गया,
Yeah.
नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ. That type of
It reminds me of 2 takes I took of Moraji Desai, for which I was reprimanded by the office.
Yeah, but Nehru and Indira Gandhi and all very fond of retakes.
They used to do
documentaries.
any amount of retakes. Yeah.
For documentaries.
Yes. Yeah.
Today my position is such that so much falsehood has been perpetuated by this film medium. By my art practice or by my cinema practice, if I can contribute towards expressing and portraying even a small amount of truth, as I understand it, as in a million, not the ultimate thing in life, I'll be, sufficiently rewarded, I feel, for my, it's no longer strenuous also because of this digital stuff.
Yes.
It's
a lot of facility. Yeah.
It's a pleasure. Ruskin Bond, for instance, was my childhood favorite. I always wanted to be like Ruskin Bond, but I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
So I used to think, why can't I always be where I want to be, shoot what I want to shoot, and just some managers or someone should go to the laboratory, I can edit, and some other people can show my movies, I'll stay. This is what has happened now, I've achieved. I've arrived at a kind of a place where I can do what I like, I can make what I like, I can show whomever I like whatever I've done, and I can receive feedback.